and St. Xavier's and some of the very well-reputed institutions in this place. Okay, Mr. Suresh. And I would request you to, otherwise I have been giving the speakers 10 minutes. I am sure you will be able to finish in 5 minutes that 10 minutes talk.
Now I am worried about the lunch session. I know that we are standing between you and the lunch. I'll keep it very short and brief. There are three things that I thought that would be relevant, not necessarily from a West Bengal perspective, but from a India IT landscape perspective. Three things that I wanted to quickly highlight. There are changes that are taking place in the industry, and I think that will have an impact in the people, and that will in turn have an impact in the human resources function, because at the end of the day, the function is expected to manage the people, and in this industry, people are treated as capital assets. That's what we say in Cognizant, that the capital asset of the organization is mobile. It comes in the morning and it gets back in the evening. So let me take just a few minutes. I do recognize that we have a time constraint. I'm feeling hungry too. Very quickly, if you look at the industry that we're talking about 30 to 40 years old, this is how we have grown, and today the industry has become very large, so much so that the government of India believes that this is an important area for it to focus in terms of enabling the industry to make revenues, $170 billion revenue, multiple transformations that the industry has gone through, and I think tremendous resilience in its ability to rediscover, repurpose itself with the changing dynamics in the marketplace, and look at the impact that it has created directly and indirectly. Employment beyond urban areas, bridging the gender divide, empowering the youth, which is a major ammunition that India has, and also providing employment to differently able. I think this is one industry, both from a direct employment as well as an indirect employment, significant amount of opportunities that have been generated by IT sector. And this is a quick representation in terms of what is this country creating in terms of talent, right? If you look at the picture on the left side, 35% arts graduates, 14% commerce graduate, 14% science graduate, and 17%. And I think the previous speakers talked about IIMs and IITs and other institutes being present in West Bengal. The question for the audience, and what you see on the right side is, what does this industry encompass, right? Financial specialists 5%, 13% postgraduate, 32%. I think what the industry is dealing with is, how do we make sure that what is available as a talent pool comes to the enterprises in a ready-made fashion? So do we address at the source, or do we address at the supply point? I think that's a huge debate that is going on, because I'm sure all of you are familiar with, out of every 100 that we generate a student community, less than 10% is what is employable. So this is the track record. This is the pointers that makes IT sector proud. I think number of anecdotal data points that I provided. 8.1% is the sector share in the GDP, largest private sector employer. Just look at the private equity and venture capitalist investment. $2+ billion is what is doing rounds in terms of supporting ideas, innovations, platforms, solutions in the marketplace. So the question, what got us here, will it get us to the future? Quick, something that we presented in one of the other summit. The changes that are taking place in the market is very, very interesting. What has the toothbrush got to do with the handphone? Today, the insurance industry, the data on your dental insurance is actually coming out of your toothbrush, because there is a data that is getting transmitted as you brush every morning. So depending on your health of your teeth, your insurance gets determined. What does the fuel belt have to do with insurance? If you wear the fuel belt and perform your day-to-day activities, depending on how active you are and depending on your health parameters, your health insurance policy gets determined. Same thing with the car, the software that is there in the car engine determines your insurance. When is the service due? What mileage are you doing? How much are you using the car on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis? And therefore, depending on your utilization, what should the insurance be? So that takes us to the employee, right? What is a knowledge worker? At Cognizant, we call this Sunday night to Monday morning experience. Sunday night, the employee that belongs to the IT industry has chats, blogs, Facebooks, Twitters, TV is on, he's speaking on the mobile phone. Monday morning when the person comes into the organization, you have a completely different type of an environment. How do we make sure that the knowledge workers, the Gen X, Gen Y, is given an environment which is not too distinctly different from a Sunday night to a Monday morning when they get to the organization? I think Rajiv talked very extensively about what the data does. Our belief, the future is going to be on data, nothing but data. Look at social media analytics, big data, enterprise mobility. The HR services are no longer going to be rendered by systems that are available on-premise. They are moving into the clouds, and emerging geographies is going to be a focus area for HR. So, if you trace back how social, mobile, analytic, and cloud computing is impacting what we do as HR community, just look at three distinct transformations that we have gone through: industrial era, information era, foresight era. Because the belief is, like what Rajiv said, we are leaving digital footprints day in and day out. Our employees are in Facebook, Orkut, Twitter, Yammer, every social platform that you have on the market is something that our employees are using. And how are you making sure, as enterprises, that you are able to capitalize on the digital footprint that they leave with? I'll skip this in the interest of time. Quickly to talk about what is the transformation for HR. If the employee that you're managing is going through a Sunday night to a Monday morning experience, are you equipping yourself in terms of technology, in terms of business understanding, in terms of the domain knowledge to ensure that you are able to deal with the expectations that the workforce has of the function? Quick focus area, including Cognizant, many other enterprises that are focusing on leadership, key critical area, retention and engagement. I think this is something that we keep talking about in every forum. Reskilling the HR function and talent acquisition and access. This is also 4 areas that were called out in the NASSCOM HR summit that was held in Chennai 2 weeks ago. Very quickly, employee life cycle. I think HR today is focusing on making sure that the value proposition that impacts the associate starts from what we call hire to retire life cycle. If you're able to get that done very well, and if the employees are able to perceive that the value proposition is impactful, this happens, which means the organization grows. If your value proposition is not very strong, you will continue to remain as a not so well-grown organization. So this is the Gen Y, Gen Z population. These are drivers, challenging jobs. What do they want, right? There is a significant change in the way the Gen Y looks at their employment. Challenging jobs, learning opportunity, easygoing work environment, which I talked about Sunday night to Monday morning. Rapid promotions. I want promotions every 12 months or 18 months, no later than 12 months or 18 months. Work-life balance, mobility, social media. Please allow me to use my devices, what we call BYOD, bring your own devices. And companies are responding to the challenge by customizing rewards and recognition, career management, entrepreneurship. Can I allow my employees to come up with ideas for the organization and allow that idea to be incubated within the enterprise. The technology impact, most of our services compared to 5 or 7 years ago is being rendered by technology platforms. I think our organizations are investing significant amount of money, time and effort in order to make sure that it leads to greater clarity and responsiveness from employees. Finally, HR functions using social media platforms extensively for branding, recruitment, orientation, managing performances, talent management, talent engagement, all of the HR related activities. So the point that organizations are trying to focus on is to make sure that whatever solution that they provide takes a social context. Otherwise, today's generation is not interested in looking at it seriously. I leave this slide. What are the new competencies that HR is focusing on? Thank you.
Due to shortage of time, I not further emphasize what all the previous speaker has spoken. I now invite Mr. Charanpreet Singh. Charanpreet Singh is a well-known quiz master. I think many of you know him well. We are eagerly waiting to hear his views. Over to Mr. Charanpreet Singh.
Thank you very much, Colonel, and good afternoon to all of you. And I'm the last person between us and lunch because I'm hungry as well. Right? Okay. Yeah. So I chose to be the last speaker because I was afraid of my thunder being stolen because I didn't have any thunder with me. Right? So it helps to have 3 good guys speak before you so that you know what to speak, right? So I've lived most of my life in Kolkata. I was born here, I schooled here, then I went out to do some knowledge, kind of seeking, and then came back and worked. So I can do a longitudinal analysis of how this city went from the time I grew up to where it is today. So I'm going to concentrate on Bengal and Kolkata totally, and then if I kept getting jobs and getting sacked, so I worked in very different industries in Kolkata. And finally, when nobody was ready to hire me, I started a business school with like-minded people. So I've seen Kolkata from corporates, different industries, as well as from academia, right? So it kind of gives me a feel for where this city is. And in 2004, I was called by a pretty reputed B school to participate in a panel discussion, can West Bengal be the next Silicon Valley? And I had said some very rude things about the topic there because I said, let's take some baby steps before we start setting those targets. And then in 2007, there was a panel discussion. I was a moderator at Xavier's where Mr. Rupan Roy was one of the panelists, which was about the resurgence of West Bengal. So, we've been at it for a long time, and this shows that we know that there should be a resurgence because we are losing out. And can we be the Silicon Valley because we are nowhere close? So I'm going to be a little blunt today because it's good to dream and argument on demand, also dream on demand. Even this you can do that. But I think since I live and work with students now, I'm going to kind of try and emphasize the severity of the problem that we have in Kolkata today. Kolkata and West Bengal, I think we pride ourselves on the quality of manpower that is available here, raw material, qualitative and quantitative skills and analytical skills and artistic skills. But the problem is all the people, good people, and I define good people as people who are capable, professional and honest, they are leaving Kolkata because we are not being able to retain them. So students in class 11 and 12, and that includes my son and children of my friends, that do not want to do college in Kolkata. Okay. And I do quizzes as you are, and that's what I do actually. The rest of it is all yeah. So when I used to lament the fact at one time that inter-school quizzing is more intense in Kolkata than inter-college quizzing because the good guys from school don't do college in Kolkata. That was about 5 years back. Now today I feel that even inter-college school quizzing quality is going down because a generation of the so-called good people have moved and their children are not attending school in Kolkata. Right? So I think we have, I don't think we can keep on taking for granted that we have talent. Because unless we arrest the movement of this talent away from West Bengal and almost never to come back again, because most of the people who move out, at least for the first 20 years of their life, they say, I don't want to come back to Calcutta. Then they get older and then they start feeling, they start missing Kolkata and they want to come back. But then the productive years are gone, right? And their children have moved away. So I think that, so there is an issue here. And so if we have to go from 2.6 to 15%, and if I look at the demand side, I think we also have to look at the supply side, which we've been taking for granted. That supply is there, all we have to do is get the companies. I think what attracts foreigners to invest in a city, more or less same factors attract youngsters to stay back in the city. So if you haven't got one, it also means you haven't got the other. So I'm going to use the term which I think is the second most abused term in corporate lingo. The first is strategy. Everything is strategy. The second is ecosystem. Everything is ecosystem. So I think that the ecosystem that we need to create in Kolkata has to make people feel that if they don't leave Calcutta, they're not losing out. I think that is the emotion I get. I run a B school in Kolkata, and sometimes people say we would have loved to study at Praxis, but I don't want to be in Kolkata, so I won't leave. And these are thoroughbred Bengalis who are saying that, right? So what can we do to create that? So I think that I think some of the ideas that Rajesh talked about, and again Calcutta is such a small place that he and I have worked together in PwC, and Rajiv Abzuba is teaches at Praxis, and they recruit from us. And the two companies that Rajesh spoke about, the online grocery store, Atanu, who runs that, teaches at Praxis, logistics and stuff, and the other one, and we sent summer interns to this new company that has come up which runs this healthcare program. So everybody kind of knows everybody, and the people, the group is becoming smaller. So we need to expand that. And I think that one is of course the idea of getting people, the headquarters, the product companies, and all of that. But why will they come? I think we need to answer that. So one is that those efforts might have to be made at a government level, or maybe at a political level, I don't know. But what we can do is come together as academia and industry here and at least start some excitement, some smaller, hotspots of excellence that will, if not at least retain some people and maybe get people from other cities to come to Kolkata. And I think entrepreneurship can play a big role. You can have smaller companies, like Abzuba is one company which is running in Kolkata. It started from 0 to 100 in 2 years. And if it can grow into 500, 1000, I mean, can we have those success stories coming out of Kolkata? Analytics is a good area, as everybody has talked about. I'll give you an example. We done a 1-year course in data analytics, and which is why we came close to people like Abzuba. And this year we have 35 students. It's a 1-year full-time course, so you have to leave your job and join. And 30 of those students are from outside Kolkata. So they are from cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, which are centers of analytics. Bangalore is a much bigger market of analytics than Kolkata. But people in Bangalore are leaving their jobs in Bangalore and coming to Kolkata to study because they feel that this program gives some value which they will not get in Bangalore. The flip side is, why have only 5 Kolkatans joined? I look at 2 reasons. One is, are they not aware how big analytics is going to be and have stopped having the courage to take risks and give their job up? Or do they feel that if it's Kolkata, it probably is not a good program? It's also this faith that we need to again create. So I believe that, if people who are, as I said, those good people that I'm talking about, capable, professional and honest, from both industry as well as academia, they come together and create even a few centers or spots of excellence which attract people and start creating a confidence that we can come back and bring Kolkata back to what it was, and there is a way to get back. I think that is what I'm looking at as a person who's looked at both industry and academia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tarafi. Any question, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. You have a question. Well, please give us the mic.
This is for Rajoshi Gupta. Rajoshita, you said that we need more R&D captives here. Like it or not, our IT industry that we so boast of had been grown because of outsourcing, because of labor arbitrage, and even in the R&D space we are talking about captive. I understand your reasons because of scale and recognition possibly, but why even after 20 years of being IT experts and technology experts, we ourselves are not creators and innovators? Why are we waiting for, to be captive of somebody to give us that?
So, as you know, Kasturi, I work in analytics, and I listened to previous sessions, and what you gave as an answer in your previous session is what I'm going to quote back to you, that I can answer it from a technology perspective, but there are social areas that I am not competent enough to talk about. That being the opening statement, there are a couple of things why we probably need to take a look at whether product R&D centers can be set up. You see, right now everything, most of the companies, apart from maybe Phytech or Chem Biotech, which does a little bit of biotechnology or maybe a little bit of Velos, all of these are primarily focused on service delivery. Not everyone who wants to work in IT needs to be involved in service delivery. Not everyone will have the competency or the skill sets to work in service delivery. There might be a large chunk of people who want to work in core R&D that we are perhaps missing out because there are no such centers out here. So therefore the need for these centers is, I think, is something that, it's a segment that traditionally perhaps West Bengal and Calcutta has not tapped into, and therefore there is a chance for tapping into that area. And it is basically reflective of the various people who work in systems, operations research, computer science, who are graduating and who perhaps have gainful employment in this area. Similarly, on the shared services centers, sometimes we forget the enormous presence of both the Institute of Chartered Accountants and the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants in Kolkata. Now, of course, the number of CAs perhaps from the eastern region has been going down, but that is also a huge captive base. If you want to set up a captive shared services center in anywhere in India, that's finance back office processing is one of the key things which will contribute to revenue and growth. In terms of why Indian industry is still taking a look and perhaps not investing in more R&D, I think we are. I don't think that is evident in some of the marketplace activities, but I am aware, for example, of some of the labs that Cognizant has set up in Chennai, where they have these various immersion labs that I am aware of, and one of my colleagues has recently visited, which are excellent examples of how technology innovations can be brought into the marketplace. So I think it's happening. It's also a question that everyone takes a look at the cash cows first, and I think the point that was made that in order to grow from here to the next level, we cannot just rely on whatever has happened, and therefore we need to take a look at the future. That is where some of this R&D, I'm sure, is going to come in from other areas. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Actually, the question is that since Calcutta is the hub of ISI, so how do you expect students to come into your institute to learn analytics? And moreover, the students of ISI themselves can teach analytics to some of the guys who will be really interested in that, instead of spending money to come over to your institute.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, there is an ISI in Bangalore also, but students from Bangalore are coming to practice. So,
ISI has been recently opened in Bangalore.
No, not recently. It's pretty old.
Pretty old, but still, ISI Bangalore although is there.
Yeah, is there? Yeah. So so there are several ISI. So no, the thing is that the number of people who can study at ISI is pretty limited, right? And similarly, IIT and IIM. You can't run an economy based on three or four top institutes, right? In fact, the second tier institutes have to do a much better job than they are doing now, right? So that is so. And the thing is that we were asked to start this course in analytics. We are not clever enough to start it, on our own because we couldn't predict the future, which we are learning how to do now by teaching analytics. And we were told by the corporate world, where we have good connects because we worked there, that they get good statisticians from places like ISI, but sometimes these people have a little bit of difficulty in connecting it to business issues and the relevance of this. So can we create a course? And we started this 3 years back. We were almost a pioneer there, in terms of creating this course, which actually teaches both the business context as well as the statistics, and thirdly also the technology, because there are 3 pillars. So sure, I mean, the bright guys, a lot of bright guys are there in ISI, and a lot of them are now getting into analytics in terms of professionals and being as a profession. And if some of them are willing to teach at Praxis, we'll be happy to have them. Yeah, thank you.
And moreover, Chinjay, one more question that since you are teaching analytics, so can we expect some of the genius statisticians, for example, say Nassim Nicholas Taleb, was brought out the black swan theory and something like that? Some guys like him would come out from your institute?
Yeah, I mean, if guys like that could be produced by being taught by people like us, then it would happen.
Okay, one more question, last question.
Lamented the fact that Calcutta is not home to any development center of the multinationals like Google and Microsoft and SAP and Oracle and IBM, and that no product center development is taking place in Calcutta. But that way, if you look at it, it's not happening anywhere in India except Bangalore, Hyderabad and Chennai. As far as I know, these are the hubs, the development center hubs, where SAP and Oracle, etc., all have their development center. They don't have it in Delhi, Bombay, anywhere else, neither in Calcutta. So both CP Singh and Rajeshri Sengupta said we should have, and we should attract them. But what do you do? Just in conversation in this hall, we are saying we should have. But why is it not happening? And what should be done to make that happen? CP, I'll let you go first. CP also said he went to 2 conferences. He chaired a panel discussion and he chaired a.
CP,
spoke
please take
somewhere
on.
else. But just speaking. But after that, what do you do? Everyone is saying it should happen. We need it. We need to create excitement. That is his exact phrase. But after that, what? How do you do that?
No, CP has,
Yeah, sorry.
I think CP has brought out very nicely. He has said, Rajeshri has said that basically there is an interface required between academy, industry and government. All 3. And certain hard facts also Mr. Chandrit he has brought up. That is, there is an exodus of good students from Calcutta.